there, it's midnight sharp and you're watching World News Program with me, Mariam Zian. To the headlines. Brutal massacres committed by the occupation in Gaza leave at least 32 martyrs. Hamas describes the occupation government statements as an explicit admission of the crime of starving Gaza's residents. And the UN affirms that Israel continues to obstruct humanitarian aid. Also, tonight, the UN envoy to Libya delivers her first briefing before the Security Council. She confirms the political crisis persists due to competition over economic resources, while the A3+ group calls for resolving disputes related to electoral laws. And Iranian-Russian talks take place in Moscow on the eve of the second round of negotiations in Rome. The IAEA director stresses the agency must play a role in upcoming talks. Hello and welcome to your nightly news. First in our file, Gaza Civil Defense reported that over 15 Palestinians, mostly women and children, were killed in Israeli airstrikes targeting tents, shelter and displaced people in Khan Yunis. Spokesman Mahmoud Basel said that at least 16 bodies and 23 wounded were pulled from the scene after 2 direct missile strikes. Wafa news agency noted that many victims were burned due to the fires ignited in the tents.
A 12-year-old disabled child. He was carried on the wheelchair. We carried him. Even his bones had melted as we were pulling him out. This is the child's wheelchair. A child, 12 years old.
There are no safe areas in this country. There is no safe place. Not a school, not a tent. Nothing is safe. Whoever says there are safe areas is a liar.
And 6 Palestinians were murdered in an Israeli airstrike targeting a school shelter and displaced people east of Jabalia refugee camp in northern Gaza. Medical sources in Gaza confirmed Thursday that the death toll had risen to 6, including children from the same family, due to an Israeli shelling on Al Ayyubi school, which is run by the UN Relief and Works Agency in Jabalia camp. Several others were seriously wounded and transferred to hospitals. And 32 Palestinians were murdered and others wounded as a result of intense Israeli airstrikes on the Gaza Strip since early Thursday morning. According to a statement from the Palestinian Ministry of Health in Gaza, as of Thursday, numerous victims were killed, with 32 martyrs transported to hospitals as an initial toll. These strikes targeted densely populated areas in Gaza, and the same source noted that several people remain wrapped or trapped under the rubble. And the Palestinian Ministry of Health in Gaza also announced Thursday that 40 martyrs and 73 injured individuals arrived at hospitals in the Gaza Strip over the past 24 hours. In its statement, the ministry said that since March 18, the number of martyrs has reached 1,691. It further noted that the overall death toll since the start of the genocide has risen to 51,065. And the Islamic resistance movement Hamas said on Thursday that the statements made by Katz and Ben Gvir regarding the prevention of aid from entering Gaza are clear admission of committing the crime of starvation in the Strip. In a statement, Hamas said these remarks add to similar positions by far-right minister Itamar Ben Gvir, who openly called for not allowing even a single gram of aid into the territory. The group called on the International Criminal Court to prosecute Zionist leaders for their crimes.
Medical charity
The United Nations has said that Israeli occupation authorities continue to obstruct the delivery of humanitarian aid in Gaza, noting that no aid has entered the Strip in nearly 2 months. In a press briefing, UN Deputy Spokesperson Stéphane Tremblay stressed the need for uninterrupted humanitarian assistance, adding that aid workers are still facing major challenges in carrying out their duties.
Humanitarians are finding it increasingly difficult to operate as no aid has entered Gaza for now. We're now in the 7th week of this, and as military operations expand. Meanwhile, OCHA tells us that Israeli authorities continue to deny planned coordinated mission. Today, only 2 out of 6 planned humanitarian movements that were coordinated with the Israeli authorities were facilitated. The remaining 4 were denied, including 1 mission to retrieve fuel from Rafah, which, as you can imagine, is urgently needed.
And the Islamic resistance movement Hamas stated that Netanyahu will pay the price for the genocide he's carrying out against our people, adding that his decision to return to war leaves his prisoners to die from hunger or to be bombed. The head of Hamas in the occupied West Bank, Zahir Jabarin, confirmed that the movement is keen on stopping the aggression and in the war and ensuring a full withdrawal from Gaza.
The movement is very keen to stopping the aggression, ending the war, and the total withdrawal from the Gaza of pride and heroism. For the precision, it's Netanyahu who refuses to release prisoners as part of a comprehensive exchange deal, as he refused twice to sign the agreement in May and June last year, which led to the killing of a large number of prisoners who were included in the first phase before he signed it again in January after failing to apply military pressure. We call for a comprehensive, clear and serious struggle project that protects the West Bank and protects the Palestinian National Project and prevent its annexation to this criminal and barbaric entity.
The UN envoy to Libya, Hannah Tete, said that forming a transitional government in Libya has not addressed the country's core challenges. During a briefing to the UN Security Council on Thursday, Tete stressed that divided institutions and unilateral actions are deepening the political rift, adding that the absence of a unified budget is worsening the situation. She also noted that the UN mission will act cautiously to help preserve stability.
Libya's political crisis persists due to competition for economic resources. Fragmented institutions, unilateral actions which deepen divisions, and lack of a unified budget exacerbates the situation, causing macroeconomic instability characterized by foreign exchange deficits, inflation, and currency depreciation. In parallel to the work of the Advisory Committee, UNSMIL has been engaging economic experts to identify reforms for financial management and sustainability. We will continue consultations to foster progress and are ready to support the key political stakeholders to agree on a unified budget to prevent a looming crisis.
And Tete stressed her intention to work closely with all Libyan parties with the support of her colleagues at the United Nations, the UN mission, and the international community to fulfill the mission's mandate and advance the political process in Libya.
I have been engaged in consultation with leaders, political parties, and civil society actors on the subsequent phase of the process, and I intend to maintain an inclusive stakeholder approach, ensuring that any outcome is not only Libyan-owned, but also enjoys broader Libyan support. Given the increasingly frequent recurring crisis, I intend to act with urgency while exercising caution to preserve stability.
Algeria, Sierra Leone, Somalia, and Guyana call for resolving Libya's electoral law disputes to overcome the political deadlock. Speaking on behalf of the A3+ group, Algeria's UN envoy Ammar Ben Jama urged the advisory committee to present technically sound and politically feasible recommendations. The group described the second phase of municipal elections as a pivotal step toward holding national polls.
نتوجه بالشكر الخاص للأمين العام.
These positive political developments mark another milestone in the Libyan-led and Libyan-owned political process and a step forward holding free and fair national elections that reflect the will of the Libyan people. In this regard, we call on Libyan stakeholders to engage with UNSMIL to resolve the contentious issues related to electoral laws with a view to generating practical solutions that break the ongoing political stalemate in the country.
And the A3+ group voiced concern over recent clashes in several Libyan cities, urging all parties to fully respect the ceasefire agreement and to prioritize the unification of Libya's military and security institutions.
On the security front, the A3+ expresses concern over recent clashes and incidents in various Libyan cities. We urge all parties to fully respect and uphold the 2020 ceasefire agreement and to prioritize the reunification of Libya's security and military institutions.
And Algerian President Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune received Egyptian Foreign Minister Badr Abdelati on Thursday, who delivered a message from his counterpart Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, according to a statement from the Algerian presidency. The same source added that the meeting was attended by the director of the Algerian Presidential Office, Boualam, the Minister of State and Foreign Affairs, Mr. Ahmed Attaf, and Algeria's ambassador to Egypt. And following his reception by President Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, Egyptian Foreign Minister Badr Abdelati stated that the discussions held between President Tebboune and his Egyptian counterpart Abdel Fattah al-Sisi last October reaffirmed the depth of the ties between Algeria and Egypt and their shared positions on the need to intensify efforts in support of international security and stability.
تشرفت اليوم بلقاء فخامة الرئيس عبد المجيد تبون.
Today, I had the honor of meeting His Excellency President Abdelmajid Tebboune, President of the People's Democratic Republic of Algeria. I conveyed the greetings of his brother, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi of Egypt, and delivered a written message from the President al-Sisi to President Tebboune. I expressed appreciation for President Tebboun's visit to Egypt last October and his important discussions with President al-Sisi, which reaffirmed the strong and brotherly ties between Algeria and Egypt, rooted in deep historical bonds. We also highlighted the shared views and the importance of strengthening efforts to promote security, stability, and peace amid the rapid developments in the Arab region, the Middle East, Africa, and the world at large.
And the Egyptian foreign minister explained that his meeting with President Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune reaffirmed the shared determination to elevate Algerian-Egyptian relations to broader horizons across various fields. He also noted that preparations are underway for upcoming bilateral milestones, including the Joint High Committee.
During my meeting with His Excellency President Abdelmajid Tebboune, we reaffirmed the strong mutual will to further develop Egyptian-Algerian relations across various fields, including politics, economics, investment, and trade. We also emphasized solidarity and cooperation between our two countries. We discussed the current arrangements for upcoming bilateral milestones aimed at enhancing cooperation on all levels. Additionally, we talked about the leading developmental partnerships between the two countries in line with the visions of President al-Sisi and Tebboune. A key milestone is the ongoing preparations for the Joint High Committee to be hosted in Cairo later this year, which will further strengthen and deepen the cooperative ties between our two brotherly nations.
The Egyptian minister noted that during his meeting with President Tebboune, he addressed the Arab efforts aimed at countering attempts to liquidate the Palestinian cause, praising Algeria's principled stance in support of the Palestinian people and their legitimate rights.
تطرقت مع فخامة الرئيس تبون.
I discussed with His Excellency President Tebboune the Arab efforts aimed at confronting all attempts to liquidate the Palestinian cause. I praised Algeria's principled stance in support of the Palestinian people, its efforts to strengthen their resilience on their land, and its unwavering support for their rights to remain and resist forced displacement plans.
ومجابهة مخططات التهجير.
The Egyptian foreign minister also revealed that his country intends to host an international conference in Cairo to implement the Gaza Strip reconstruction plan, praising Algeria's continued support for the Palestinian people.
تحدثنا أيضا عن الخطة.
We also discussed the Arab Islamic plan for the reconstruction of Gaza and achieving early recovery once an agreement is reached to halt the aggression on the Strip. This plan was endorsed by the Extraordinary Arab Summit held in Cairo on March 4 and later by the Emergency Ministerial Meeting of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation in Jeddah on March 7. I informed His Excellency President Tebboune of Egypt's intention to host the Cairo International Conference for Reconstruction, aimed at implementing this Arab Islamic plan, which now enjoy growing regional and international support and will help the Palestinian people remain steadfast on their land.
وبما يساعد الشعب الفلسطيني على التشبث بأرضه.
Badr Abdelati praised Algeria's supportive positions on Arab causes and its vital role in defending Arab rights, including those of the Palestinian people, through its current membership in the UN Security Council. Let's take a listen.
نقلت تقدير مصر الكامل.
I conveyed Egypt's deep appreciation to His Excellency President Tebboune and to sisterly Algeria for the vital role Algeria plays in supporting Arab causes and rights, including the Palestinian cause, especially through its current membership in the UN Security Council as the only Arab member and its continued defense of Arab interests. I also extended congratulations to President Tebboune on Algeria's recent election to the African Union's Peace and Security Council.
The Egyptian foreign minister affirmed his country's readiness to strengthen cooperation with Algeria, emphasizing the need to enhance coordination between the two nations in light of the serious challenges facing the Arab world.
I conveyed to His Excellency President Tebboune the directives of President al-Sisi and Egypt's full readiness to strengthen economic and trade relations between our countries. I also emphasized Egypt's commitment to supporting the development and modernization efforts led by President Tebboune during his second term. We discussed the importance of ongoing consultation and cooperation on Arab and regional issues, stressing that Arab national security is indivisible. This requires enhanced Arab solidarity to address the serious challenges facing the Arab world, reinforcing the nation-state concept, strengthening national institutions, and activating mechanisms for joint Arab and African action.
وتفعيل آليات العمل العربي والإفريقي المشترك.
The Minister of State, Minister of Foreign Affairs, the National Community Abroad and African Affairs, Mr. Ahmed Attaf, received Thursday at the Ministry's headquarters the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Immigration and Egyptian expatriates of the Arab Republic of Egypt, Mr. Badr Abdelati, who is on an official visit to Algeria. This meeting was an opportunity to review the various axes and dimensions of the relations of fraternity and cooperation between the two brotherly countries, to examine ways to boost them ahead of the upcoming events, particularly those relating to Algerian-Egyptian High Joint Commission. The Algerian Minister of Energy, Mines and Renewable Energies, Mohamed Arqab, also received Egyptian Foreign Minister Badr Abdelati. According to a statement from Algeria's Ministry of Energy, Minister Arqab emphasized the importance of developing cooperation between the two countries in the field of hydrocarbons, including upstream and downstream sectors, as well as electricity transmission, local manufacturing of electrical equipment, gas, marketing, and renewable energies. The meeting also touched on opportunities for cooperation in the mining sector, especially in research, exploration, exploitation, processing of mineral resources, along with green hydrogen and seawater desalination. The Algerian Sonel Gas Group and Egypt's El Sewedi Electric signed a memorandum of understanding in the field of energy to expand areas of partnership between the two countries. According to a statement by the Algerian group, the Memorandum of Understanding aims to define a general framework for cooperation between the two parties centered on manufacturing and marketing energy equipment, building energy infrastructure, and launching a joint company specializing in studies, equipment, and implementation of major energy projects. Algeria and Angola agreed to hold regular political consultations and activate bilateral mechanisms to enhance cooperation and explore new partnership opportunities. The agreement came during Algerian Secretary of State for African Affairs Salma Malika Haddadi's visit to Luanda, where she co-chaired the first session of political consultations with her Angolan counterpart Esmeralda Mendoza. The talks focused on strengthening political dialogue, boosting cooperation in shared areas of interest, and coordinating positions on regional and international issues, particularly within the African Union and the United Nations. And Algeria's Director General of National Security, Ali Badawi, stated that the strong ties between the Algerian and Italian police are built on shared values and standards within the framework of bilateral and multilateral cooperation. Speaking during a meeting with his Italian counterpart, Vittorio Pisani, who is on an official visit to Algeria, Badawi emphasized that addressing various security threats, particularly organized crime and irregular migration, requires increased coordination and cooperation between the two countries, including effective information sharing and exchange of expertise.
إنني على قناعة بأن مواجهة مختلف التهديدات الأمنية.
I am convinced that confronting various security threats, especially those related to transnational organized crime, arms trafficking, the trafficking of ammunition, drugs and chemical isotopes, cyber and economic crimes, in addition to human and organ trafficking and illegal migration, requires further coordination and cooperation between our two countries' law enforcement agencies through an effective exchange of operational intelligence and the sharing of experiences and intensifying the visits of the officials in order to face up to the organized crime networks and neutralize them.
And for his part, Italy's Director General of Police, Vittorio Pisani, stressed the importance of coordination and cooperation between the Italian and Algerian police forces to combat all forms of crime, particularly illegal migration, given that both countries serve as gateways to the Mediterranean. Let's take a listen.
We insisted on the necessity of exchanging information as well as operational cooperation. Our two countries are located on the shores of the Mediterranean Sea, which constitutes one of the ways that facilitates trafficking operations, especially the illegal migration, human trafficking and drug trafficking. We are totally available for both aspects, whether the training aspect or the operational aspect, for the coordination and cooperation. Moreover, we will need the assistance of the Algerian police because the Algerian diaspora in our country is constantly increasing.
And in other news, the president of the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic and Secretary General of the Polisario Front, Brahim Ghali, welcomed a visiting Spanish delegation representing various political parties, describing their trip to Western Sahara as a reaffirmation of support for the Sahrawi cause and a step toward deeper cooperation. According to the Sahrawi news agency, Ghali expressed gratitude to the delegation and the people of Catalonia for their consistent solidarity with the Sahrawi people. For their part, the delegation reiterated their steadfast support and emphasized their commitment to raising awareness about the suffering of the Sahrawi people under Moroccan occupation. Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi stated that he had productive discussions with Rafael Grossi, Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency, who arrived in Tehran on Wednesday evening. Araghchi posted on X, emphasizing that the IAEA should not yield to external pressure so it can maintain its focus on its technical duties and play a positive role in resolving the nuclear issue in the near future. And the Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency, Rafael Grossi, said the agency must play a role in the nuclear talks between Tehran and Washington, ahead of a second round of discussions between the two sides. Grossi, who arrived in Tehran on Wednesday, held talks with Iran's foreign minister and the head of energy, or the Atomic Energy Organization of Iran, on ways the agency could support the nuclear negotiations between Iran and the U.S. Ladies and gentlemen, our program has come to an end. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.